And now, from 12 Studios, this is News 12 Now.
Today is Monday, January 27th. Welcome to News 12 Now. I'm Kylie Dudman. Well, new this afternoon, sheriff's deputies in Grayson County made a major narcotics seizure in a traffic stop on Highway 75 near Howe last week. Take a look at this. They found about 200 pounds of methamphetamine, which they say was packaged for delivery. The driver, who deputies say was identified as an undocumented immigrant, attempted to run away during the stop, but was quickly located and taken into custody. The suspect's name has not yet been released. Now we'll hear from the Sheriff's Department on the seizure and arrest tonight on News 12. The city of Bonham is asking residents to continue to conserve water today. They say crews are continuing to work on main water lines. And today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day, and in the wake of increased anti-Semitism over the last few months, advocates and remaining survivors are doing what they can to educate the public and honor the millions of Jews and other people who were murdered during World War II. Fox News' Sue Guzman reports.
Painful commemoration ceremonies taking place on a global scale as survivors and others around the world mark International Holocaust Remembrance Day Monday, 80 years since the liberation of Auschwitz back in 1945, the largest Nazi concentration camp.
From the age of 9 until 12, I was in 4 concentration camps, so I always lived in uncertainty and fear.
6 million Jewish people and millions of others across Europe were murdered by the Nazis and their collaborators.
Practically no one left Stutthof alive. Once you were in that camp, one way or another, your life was doomed.
As the number of survivors continues declining, many believe it's important to share their stories to try to prevent history from repeating itself.
As long as God gives me the strength, physical and mental, to continue doing it, I have committed myself to keep on doing it.
Manfred Goldberg was only 13 when a Nazi guard asked him how old he was. Prior to that, he was told to lie, claiming he was 17, a moment that would help save his life.
He decided, apparently, that I was fit for slave labor and pointed me in the direction of those surviving. My little brother, aged 9, did not, so he lost his life. He was murdered.
President Donald Trump has sent a delegation to Poland to observe Monday's commemoration event at Auschwitz. His Secretary of State, meanwhile, releasing a statement saying, in part, quote, "We honor those who survived, thank the liberators, and renew our shared commitment to human freedom and justice." Sue Guzman, Fox News.
Well, good afternoon, Texoma. Live look outside on TMC Tower Cam. Blue skies, business as usual, and temperatures on the rise. Mid-40s right now. We had a really cold start this morning with below freezing temperatures, but pretty much 45 almost everywhere across Texoma. Winds still out of the north, though, very calm as they're working on rotating around, but those are still left over from the cold front that came through Saturday night. So we're really feeling the effects this morning, but we're recovering. Wind chill, hardly a factor because the winds just really aren't there. So pretty much the same as temperature. That's a relief. But we're aiming for 50 degrees, low 50s, right where we should be for this time in January. And we'll get there, a few more hours of sunshine, but we do have a disruptor brewing off to the west, an area of low pressure bringing lots of rain to Southern California, starting to move into Arizona, and it's going to make its way over into Texas and Oklahoma in the next few days. And when it does arrive, Wednesday has already been flagged with a marginal risk for strong to severe storms. I'm going to talk about that more coming up and the timing of when you can expect them in a moment.
A piece of Sherman history has been recognized statewide. The Texas historical marker for the 1930 Sherman riot has been received from the Texas Historical Commission. The unveiling ceremony for the marker will take place at the Grayson County Courthouse on the morning of March 29th. All citizens are invited. The U.S. Supreme Court will decide if states can bar religious charter schools from getting public funding. On Friday, the Supreme Court agreed to hear arguments in an appeal involving an Oklahoma Catholic school. Last year, the school was the first in the nation to apply for public funding through a state charter school program, but the state's top court ruled against it. The High Court will likely hear arguments this spring and hand down a decision before July. Texas Senate Republicans unveiled their school voucher plan in a signature bill just filed in the state legislature. It calls for so-called education savings accounts, a cash incentive paid for with taxpayer money to pull students out of public school to attend private school. It'll provide up to $10,000 per student. However, students with disabilities would be eligible for up to $11,500. The proposal would require more than $1 billion in new funding. The first round of public hearings on the bill is set for tomorrow. Oklahoma State Superintendent Ryan Walters announced he would support immigration enforcement raids in schools to assist with the White House's promise of mass deportations.
We will not allow schools to be sanctuary schools anymore. We will turn over information to the Trump administration so that they can make decisions on where illegal immigrants are, how big the problem is. So we have already announced that we're going to do those things. President Trump is doing that nationwide, so we're happy to work with him on that.
Walters has proposed a rule at the state education department that would require schools to ask for students' proof of citizenship or legal immigration status during enrollment. The board is expected to vote tomorrow on the proposed immigration rule. The White House has paused a threat to impose tariffs on Colombia after an agreement regarding migrant deportation flights late last night. President Donald Trump had initially posted on social media that his administration would slap a 25% tariff on goods coming into the U.S. from the South American country after the Colombian government blocked the arrival of those flights. Colombia's government eventually agreed to accept undocumented migrants from the U.S. Mideast leaders are balking at President Trump's suggestion that Palestinian population of Gaza move to Jordan and Egypt. Fox News correspondent Trey Yingst has more from Tel Aviv.
The fragile ceasefire in Gaza now enters its second week, and it's going well so far. Over the weekend, 4 female Israeli soldiers were released by Hamas in exchange for about 200 Palestinian prisoners. But President Trump has been expressing doubts about whether the ceasefire will hold. And on Saturday, he suggested Jordan and Egypt absorb nearly the entire Palestinian population of Gaza, allowing Israelis to, quote, clean out the whole thing. That suggestion was a non-starter for Hamas.
These remarks are very strange. The Palestinian people who paid with their blood in exchange for their steadfastness on their land will not leave the Gaza Strip.
And officials in Jordan and Egypt both say a large-scale resettlement like that would create major security risks.
Keeping the Palestinians on their land is a Jordanian constant that will not change. Our rejection of displacement is a constant and will not change.
The Gazans themselves are also showing no signs they want to leave. On Monday, Israel allowed displaced civilians to return to northern Gaza for the first time in more than a year. Almost immediately, thousands began the journey, most on foot. Many came home to little more than dust and debris, but they say they're determined to stay on their land and rebuild.
My feeling, thank God, is that I am strong and we will continue our struggle regardless of the destruction. We will continue.
Meanwhile, further north, the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon has been extended to February 18th. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Thank you for watching today's News 12 Now. Make sure to subscribe so you find out why Texoma turns to us. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where you'll see more social media exclusive content. Want more News 12 Now? Watch us live every weekday through the KXII app on your phone or TV and through our website.